Well, good morning, everyone. And for some of you, maybe it's actually afternoon and evening. What I love about our community right now is we're just growing by leaps and bounds, and we're not just here in Toronto anymore, but we truly have become a global family and a global community. And so today, I have a very special guest with me. This individual I have so much respect for. Not only is she a mega speaker, she's a number one best-selling author, and she is truly a happiness coach. And this individual is the she's a facilitator. She's the founder of the Lift to Live. But you know what I love most about her? Family is so important to
Oh,
her, and she loves to help people. So I can't think of a better person today on International Women's Day to be able to spend a few minutes together than to have my good friend Hailey Patry with us here this morning. Welcome, welcome, Hailey.
Oh, Gordon, it is so wonderful to be back with you again. Gosh, I miss being with you at events in person and in 3D. And it's really such an honor to be on your show today and to be speaking with you this Thursday because you've made a really profound difference in my life and my business life. And so, for your audience listening, they know you, but if my audience is listening, in case they don't know you, Gordon is an incredible international best-selling publisher. He is of a huge heart and such high integrity. He's an event curator, one of the founders of Landed for Success, and just really an amazing person. He has business experience in so many different forms of industries. And he's been such a cheerleader for my work as a coach. He has often been the one that says, Go, get out of your comfort zone, go record a course tomorrow, go do this thing today. Hey, we have this opportunity, you should do it. And Gordon, you really are a champion. You love to rise up other business owners, entrepreneurs, and people. You're also a grandpa, and you make that look
Yeah.
really good. I like watching your family grow. So thank you for inviting me to celebrate International Women's Day week with you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Haley. Remind me to pay you for saying all that stuff. No. Well, it really truly is a blessing, right, Haley, for you to be part of our lives, part of our community. And you mentioned my baby granddaughter. In fact, International Women's Day today, just before we went on here, my sisters, right, were kind enough to come over and look after her for the next hour or two. And they were actually downstairs, Haley, playing the piano. I actually
Oh,
playing the piano, and I said, I love to hear you play the piano, but would you mind, playing in the playroom downstairs instead? Because I'm going to be hopping on, but I'm going to jump right into this, Haley, if it's okay with you, because I know that, we talk about happiness. You're a true happiness coach, but one of the things you taught me was, um, if your family life is not in tune, then your business life is going to be out of tune, and vice
yeah.
versa. If things are not going well in your business or work, it's going to affect you at home. Um, can you jump into that? I know we're jumping right into, but could you
For
jump into
sure.
that a little bit for us, Haley?
You've probably heard the line, leave your problems at the door. But that's just
Wow.
not an authentic way to live in our human experience. If our marriage is toxic, or if we're profoundly lonely and isolated, if our kids are struggling with mental health or, God forbid, cancer, uh, we are profoundly hurt by these things. So it's not like our brain has different buckets and we go to work and we just turn off all the buckets that hurt and turn on all the buckets that have confidence. Our life has bleed through, and each area of our life affects our confidence, our self worth, our energy, our vibration, and ultimately all of those things affect our magnetism. So if we are showing up to be excellent in our craft, I trust that each of you are amazing at what you do for work. But if we're showing up to be excellent in our craft and in the background, we have all these stresses, these traumas, these hurts, these unresolved conflicts, they can't help but show through in our energy. And so I'm not a fan of leave your problems at the door. I am a fan of resolve the things that are problematic in your life so there are no problems to leave at the door. Who you are goes with you everywhere you go. Someone who is resolved, someone who is at peace, someone who has healed from their past, somebody who is empowered and empowering. We don't need to be fake. We don't need to be depressed at home and confident at work. We want to be well, become well in all the places that we go.
Wow. That's incredible. Haley, so how would you handle this? Because sometimes as human beings, right, we don't want to admit that there's something wrong.
Mm. Yeah, this is a big one. And, with days such as Bell Let's Talk Day
Mm,
and working as a community, as a world at large right now, working to drop the stigmas around mental health. Let's be honest, Gordon, there are still so many barriers to feeling safe for the average individual to come and talk about what they've been through.
mm,
So, and our gender affects that conditioning as well. Fortunately for women, we have been opening up a little longer than our amazing male counterparts because many men were raised in families that were told, do not show softness because softness could be taken as weakness. And
wow.
it's heartbreaking because I see it the very other way around. When I share stories of overcoming rape, suicide attempts as a child, anorexia, abuse, depression, coming out of domestic violence, battling for self-worth and not finding it until I was 30. Today I'm 42, just to put that in context. When I share those stories, I feel like when we are brave in our sharing, we open the floodgates for others to feel brave in their sharing. A person is not likely to get help for an issue they have told no one about. And so, if we can get more folks talking and have it be safer to express, then we can make this be contagious. A lot of workplaces are causing a beautiful culture where it is safe to say, I need support. There are corporate environments where people have a sign on their door that says they're trained for depression and suicide prevention. And some other
Wow.
workplaces don't. But in our entrepreneur communities, I love to attend networking events where you can say who you are as a professional and who you are as a human behind the veil,
Wow.
right? And then we just build relationships faster. We can help each other faster.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible, Haley, because you're talking from a place of experience,
Hmm.
a place of experience. And I remember um, I asked, either I asked, I said to one time, in terms of mental health and mental wellness, right? Because I was saying, yeah, but Haley, I haven't really, you know, like suicide, some of the tough things that people talk about, that hasn't happened to me yet. So I don't know if I actually have any mental wellness issue. And I don't remember that
Let's pick at
conversation,
this.
right?
I do,
Remember
I
that? And you
do.
said to me, Gordon, yeah, you have. Like when you think of the resiliency of some of the things you've gone through, do you remember that conversation?
I completely do. I remember where we were when we had it. Let's put a safety message out there for our audience right now. It does not need to be at knife point to be trauma. It does not
Yes.
need to be what we mistakenly call a first world problem or otherwise to be valid or invalid. Your struggle is your struggle, period. Please don't measure the size of your struggle or the atrocity of your struggle against somebody else's and have yours feel not big enough, not bad enough, too small, too big. There are students that take their life because their parents expected a grade level from them that they could not sustain. There are
Wow.
others who have been gang raped and burned and didn't
Wow.
go through
Wow.
depression. So our struggle is relative to us. If it is hard for you at the time you are going through something, it's hard for you, period. And we'll all be given a different, buffet of
Yeah.
experiences, as I'll say. What really resonates as difficult for one person might not for another, and that's okay.
I love that, Haley, because you don't and you don't have to be gang raped. I mean that's a
No.
tough, word to even say, right? Um, or held at a knife or a gunpoint. And we know individuals that have gone through some tough stuff. You've been through, my good friend Jay Jack Anthony, our co-founder here, Land for Success. They started something called Mr. Tamil Canada. I know like today's International Women's
Mm,
Day, but they started something where a group of men here in Toronto realized that suicide was too prominent amongst millennials,
yeah.
and especially with some of the young men in the Tamil community. You know what they did? They started a kind of like a beauty pageant for men, which never happens, right? Who like how many men do you know enter a beauty pageant? And they ended up with, I think, like 1,500, 1,800 people at the Hilton Resort at Markham, and they raised awareness and money for mental health and mental wellness. For the folks who are watching, this is my good friend Hailey Patry here. It's International Women's Day, and again, I can't think of a better person than for Hailey to be here to just share a couple of thoughts with us. But Hailey, you have an event coming up in just a couple of
Yes.
days. Can
We
you, we, yeah, can you, would you mind? I can see if I can do this or not. I don't know if I can do this. Hold on.
And while you're pulling that up, Gordon, just to touch on what you shared about Jay and what we're talking about trauma and not comparing it, any event of your life that impacts your self-worth and is challenging for you is an event that counts. It's a meaningful part of your history, a challenging part of your story, and a place to grow, rise, pivot, and become more of who you were meant to become. And whether that self worth impacting event is financial, cultural,
Wow.
societal, familial, relational, or trauma based, it really doesn't matter. If it is confronting for your self worth, we see a lot of mental health struggles coming from financial struggle and pressure to be
Financial
perfect.
struggles. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's incredible. But I'd love to have you come back another time when we have more time and actually deep dive more into that, Haley, because I know in our Land for Success community, the women, the incredible women, the incredible men in our community, they're business owners, they're entrepreneurs, and money sometimes is a factor, isn't it?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So getting to, let's say, the event in a couple of days.
Yes, we are just 42 out 2 days, 48 hours and change, 50 plus hours away. And so this is going to be an incredible complimentary opportunity from you to be joined with incredible speakers, incredible stories, speaking relevantly to the topic of International Women's Day and this International Women's Day week. But what I love about your lineup, Gordon and Jay, is that this is a really diverse panel of experts and speakers sharing stories that have been influenced from across the globe, coming through different forms of struggle, celebrating our femininity, our womanhood, and I can share that my message on Thursday night, and I hope you will join us Thursday, March the 10th, between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, otherwise known as Toronto time, for this free, incredible event. I'm going to be speaking about how we go from adversity and trauma to true happiness. And what are the
Wow.
actual steps, not just the stories, but what are the actual steps you can take when you're ready to lift our life? Gordon, what are some of the messages that our other speakers are bringing? Because we've got a really diverse lineup of topics.
Wow. Wow. And there's a couple of other speakers.
So we're going to have Aisha, Rosetta, Sanjukta, Mrs. Prema, myself, Diana, and Shilpi. And Gordon, can you share with our viewers what are some of the topics that are going to be getting covered on Thursday evening?
I actually don't have the specific topics, Haley. Shilpi and Diana, who's our two moderators, and Jay, they have actually been more involved in this specific project. So I do apologize. I don't have the specific topics, but I do know that some of the inspiration and the stories that are going to come from this group of women who are on the speaker panel, like yourself, is going to be incredible. I can speak, let's say, in terms of, let's say, Sanjuka, who's with Humber College, and what she's been able to do for students, international
Mm.
students, has been nothing short of a miracle. And she just talked about going back to work for the first time after 2 years. I mean, talk about trauma. You talk about adversity trauma and then how to deal with it. So she's been away from work for 2 years, literally 2 years, and she says she just walked back into work at Humber just this week.
The
And
first
instead of it,
handshake, the first hug,
well, they couldn't even
the
handshake, right? They said we can't even handshake. We're like fist pumping and we're elbowing and we're wearing masks, but we can see each other's smiles through our eyes, right? So one of the things that Sanjuka um, does so brilliantly, Hilly, is she's been able to help students, and through Land for Success, we have had some incredible students. Some of these young ladies and young men who have now worked with Land for Success has been just incredible. Like, you've seen some of our digital marketing assets that have come out.
Mhm.
It's because of them. You've seen us fill events or our pop-ups. It's because of them. And Sajuka has been able to help me with this. one of the productivity hacks, Hailey, for all our women and men that are here right now is this. We all want more happiness, right? Like what Hailey talked about. We all want more time. So a new member, Michael from Hong Kong, said, "How would you like to gain 10 more hours a week?" Couldn't we?
Beautiful.
Couldn't we? How many of us could use 10 more hours a week, whether it's with friends, family,
For
spend on our
sure.
business? So he talked about social media, and he talked about maybe hiring somebody to do your social media. So guess what? I now have an intern that's going to work 12 hours a week to take care of my social media needs. So now it frees me up 12 hours a week to be able to spend
Gordon,
time with my
it's
baby
such a
granddaughters.
good
You like that idea? And
it's
that's
such a
because of
good
Senjuka.
feeling.
That is because of Senjuka. Is that amazing?
I hired out for my social media a long time ago, and I'm so grateful to my social media manager, Julia, in case she is watching, for doing it beautifully and taking it off my shoulders. So, why should you come on Thursday night, my friends? If you are watching this live broadcast or watching it as a playback, this is the week of International Women's Day, and somebody shared a beautiful quote with me this morning, which says, "We can't spell the word hero without her. We also
I
can't
saw
spell
that. I saw when you posted that this morning.
but
Yes,
we also can't spell her without he." And the truth
yes.
is, both of our genders are so crucial to work together
Together,
in
right?
balance. And the theme this year for International Women's Day is important, but even if we're separate from the theme, I believe that all of our speakers on Thursday night are going to be sharing with you stories that will help you see there is
Absolutely.
no barrier to your success in this life other than the barriers you allow to stay standing taller than you. Whether you
Wow.
are a woman, whether you are a man, whether you identify as another gender or orientation, you can have an unlimited life if you are ready to claim that, step over barriers, and rise up and be taller than them. And so, yes, it is a celebration of women this week, but I prefer
Yes,
to celebrate all people this week, Gordon.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
I I just use my own life as proof that our past does not have to instruct or define our future,
I
and we
love
can
that.
choose to
Wow.
make the pivot anytime we are wanting to. So when people ask me, how do you go from trauma and adversity to true happiness? Step one is you have to want to. It's not as
Wow.
simple as an
Wow.
easy button that says, get me
Yes.
happy now. You
You
have to
have to
want
want
to.
to. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what I'd like to end with this.
I lost your sound, Gordon. So until
How
you
about
come
now? Can you
back.
hear me now?
Yeah,
You
you're
would
back.
think everyone would want to.
The
Is
truth
that not the case?
No. The truth is, we can become so accustomed to how we identify ourselves, whether we identify as someone who is a victim or a martyr or a fixer or broken. We can become so accustomed to our identity, even if it is not a positive one, that there can be an enormous fear of change, wondering who will you be if you're not, all your broken parts? Who will you be does require bravery in order to say, I choose to step towards happiness. I choose to become mentally and emotionally well. I choose to raise my self worth. And I don't yet know who I'll be on the other side, but I'm willing to lean in and to go for that. So, no, not everybody wants to choose a path to happiness, and happiness
Wow.
is available for those who are ready to lift their life, who want to lift their life, and it becomes on your radar. Until
Wow.
you have a white car or a blue car, you don't notice all the other white and blue cars on the road. And
Right.
until
Right.
you decide to pursue happiness and emotional well-being, you don't notice all the books, the podcasts, the conferences, the events like yours and ours on Thursday, the right therapist or coach or mentor for you. These things aren't on your radar until you decide you want to, you're willing to, and you're ready to. Then they show up and they're everywhere.
Wow. I love it. Well, show up, you guys. Are you ready? Are you ready for more happiness? You show up. I'm so excited to be learning from you this coming Thursday and from all the other speakers as well.
Yes.
Haley, before we go, I always ask my guests like three quick questions just so they can get to know you a little bit better. You okay if I put you on the spot?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Awesome. Haley, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is any shade of this aqua, light, dark, any kind of aqua teal green.
Okay. Now, if your kids was to say, "Hey, mom loves," like, what is mom's favorite ice cream?
Oh, if I'm having dairy, which is not usually a thing, it would be chocolate chip cookie dough. But if my
Chocolate.
kids had to finish the sentence, mom loves, they would say, me. Mom loves
There,
me.
there you go. I love that. Mom loves me. My last question for you is: what I love about you, Haley, is you're constantly about thinking about somebody else. Like even as we're having this conversation about International Women's Day and how you and some of the speakers, all the speakers will be able to show up this Thursday and really be able to inspire and help people land for success. You're not even talking about yourself. You're still talking about others. You're talking about, for example, your social media manager, right? Which we should, right? International Women's Day, highlighting some of the women that are making differences in our lives. But I want to ask you the third question. If you could wave a wand right now, you had a wand you could wave and you could do one thing for Haley, just for Haley, not for somebody else, because you're always thinking about how can I help, how can I serve somebody else, my family, my kids, my clients. But if you can do one thing for Haley right now, what would you do?
Oh, this one's easy, Gordon. Thank you for asking. I would have our babysitter that used to be here every Monday night before the pandemic, so my husband and I could go on our date night. I would have this babysitter magically reappear back into our schedule every single week. I value alone time with my husband so much, and it is not easily available with our three kiddos and their health and mental health struggles. So, babysitting date night all the way.
Wow, I love that babysitting date nights. And that's important. That's watching, right? That's one of the tips. One of the things I learned from Haley is, self care, self time for ourselves, self time, with our significant others
Yeah.
is so important. There's so much Haley could be teaching and sharing with us about happiness and relationship and marriage and so on. I hope you guys get to tune in on Thursday, get to know Haley, reach out even beyond this event that we have. Reach out to her, right? If you know anybody who's struggling right now, right? Like
Mhm.
Haley mentioned, adversity, there is a way out. There is a solution. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but there is. But Haley, once again, thank you so much for being here. If you guys are watching, please click on the link. It's somewhere on here. Go register, get a ticket. Don't come alone. Bring your besties with you, right? If there was a sale at a store and you found like a beautiful dress right now, you probably bring. Who would you bring with you, right, to get that dress? Like, who would you
And
bring this Thursday? Bring somebody with you, you guys.
And in case you can't find the link, follow Gordon So on Facebook. Follow me, Hailey Patry. There's only one of each of us, so we are easy to
Yes.
find. You will see the links for this event all over both of our Facebook pages. And really and truly, bring a friend, bring a mother, a sister, a cousin, an aunt, a coworker, and bring
Yes.
more than just women. Bring the good human beings in your life, regardless of what gender they do or don't identify with, because Gordon and I have watched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people change because they attended one event, made one decision, attended one talk, and they became forever different in a good way. We have witnessed in our lives, we have done different businesses together, we've done many cool projects, and we know it's the power of one. And so you don't
Wow.
want to be sitting in the room thinking, oh, I should have told somebody else about this. And I just want to leave you with one final quote, and that is, the grass is greener where you water it, where you care for
Wow.
it. And so, if you are ready to get out of your complaints and to get into your gratefulness, your empowerment, your productivity, your joy, your happiness, your resiliency, water that. Come and spend some time on these inspiring topics with a great panel of speakers. I can't wait to learn from the other women this Thursday. And Gordon, thank you for having me. I will see you
You're
there.
so welcome. Well, we're so grateful to have you there. Haley, thank you so much for taking your busy time out of your busy schedule to be here. For the folks that are watching, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you this coming Thursday. So until next time, everyone, have an amazing, amazing day. Thank you. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Gordon. See you.